a potentiality.
Known, and then the evil himself is completely different. No. You keep conflating the known and the ontology.
Wait.
One second. No. Kim, you stop for a second. Kim, please. Just 1 second. Kim, please.
Okay.
Kim, please.
Go for it.
The fact of the matter is what? We're telling you that God in the Islamic conception has given us free will. However, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It can't be the case that every time somebody tries to exercise their free will, God interjects. There's no free will then. See what I'm saying? So in the Islamic conception, God created this life as a test. And in this test, God gave us, He's like, you have this free will, and God, out of His mercy, gave us the best thing that we can aspire for, the most blissful thing we can aspire for, the best reward we can ever attain, paradise, if we pass this test. And He also gave us the biggest thing to fear, eternal hellfire. It's very simple. It's a very nice and concise, and
He gave that eternal hellfire. Created that. And He created evil.
No, He didn't create evil. He doesn't say your whole conception. No. Wait, punishing. Why? Yeah, because your conception is God created evil things. We're saying things. No.
He must have created the potential for evil and the potential for good.
God allows evil and knows about. Because you said your whole argument is.
Wait. You said God was the first cause. Everything came back to God.
No.
God started everything. God knew this was going to happen.
Yes, exactly. The whole point is this knowledge.
He has to create evil to differentiate between good.
No.
There has to be a differentiation. Otherwise, it's meaningless. If everything is just good and bliss, there's no distinction and there's no test, as you said.
Yes, exactly.
So he must have created it.
No, he did. No.
He must have created it.
No. Let me explain that. No. He created the free will. He created the free will agents.
There you go.
He created them, but they were not created evil, like the way you're saying.
Yes.
Oh, did not create evil.
Yeah, exactly.
But He created
like
the test.
our predisposition.
So,
is
for
not
example,
evil.
look, if you create, let's say you manufacture a knife.
Yeah.
Yes? Did you create the knife for the purpose of murder?
Well, I mean, it can certainly be used for that. So
No, but that wasn't your objective, was it?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Did you know that it could be used for murder?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I blame you for that?
You should say there, it's definitely created the possibility.
Should I blame you for it then?
Should you blame me for it? No, not necessarily.
There you go. Similarly, you cannot blame God for something other people. But
I'm saying He's created it.
But you said
I'm not blaming Him for it.
No.
I'm saying
Tim, you said He created him evil.
No, wait.
That's what
I'm saying He creates it because otherwise there couldn't exist good. Right?
No.
That's a theory you have. We're saying maybe that's a result that's completely fine. You're saying that without evil existing.
Shall I give an example of good where there's no evil?
Yeah.
It's called paradise.
Paradise, yeah, right.
There you go.
And then
all
there's no
good,
test.
no evil.
And then there's no test. Then there's
that's
right.
meaning. That is a reward for the test.
Yeah,
that's
test
a
is
reward.
finished.
That's
Right.
Exactly. Yeah,
so there you go. There is good without evil. I'll give you an example.
There is good without evil.
But you see, the difference between you and us is that we don't believe everything is created intrinsically evil. Everything is created good intrinsically.
Well, I don't believe that.
So when I say everything, when I say everything, I mean those people, those entities who have been given the choice between good and bad. That means those entities which have a consciousness and which have free will.
So didn't God create, say, cancer? Was God not a cause of cancer? Was God not a cause of
cancer
did God not put in murderous abilities into us so we can kill other animals and kill each other?
Shall I tell you where you made a mistake again? Look, God is also the one who causes everything. So we say that not even a leaf moves without the permission of Allah.
And I'm not blaming Him. I'm saying it's good to do that.
Listen, let me finish. Kim.
Yeah.
So these agencies which don't have consciousness, which cannot differentiate between good and bad because they don't have a free will. So, for example, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, all these things, these are natural calamities.
It's not evil.
Yeah. So we can't call them evil. These are natural calamities, but we cannot say that they are responsible for killing so many people.
Right.
You see? Because they don't have a conscious agency like the way you and I do, like the way the jinn, the Satan does. That's the reason only these people will be sent to hell. For their evil. Because they chose deliberately, knowingly, consciously. And that's the reason the consequences of that evil is the hellfire.
I think I get you there.
That's the whole point of the test.
I think I get you there. That He has to set up the field. He has to give us the capacity for both good and evil. Otherwise, there's no test. Exactly. But in that sense, He has created the field, and He's created the arena, and He's allowed for the possibility of it.
In finite terms, and then gave you an infinite, gave you first of all a judgment day, a place where all wrongs will be written right, and then gave you a place where people who passed the test eternally live in bliss, and people who did not eternally live in hellfire.
In a way, it's a bit sick and twisted, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Okay, let me ask you why. In your worldview, what should be the punishment for Hitler, who is an evil
What
man?
should be the punishment for Hitler?
Exactly.
Eternal hellfire.
But do you believe in that?
Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? What's the problem with eternal?
No, I don't really believe.
So what is his punishment? Something
He got away. He killed himself.
Something that he deserves.
I think he got his punishment at the end of his life.
No, he didn't.
He
I think
chose.
he was
One second. He actually escaped punishment through his own
by
will.
killing himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he did not actually.
So in your worldview, there's no justice for good and
Don't you
evil.
think he was a tormented person before he died? Don't you think he was a
It's
tormented person before he died?
Was justice
That was his
established?
punishment.
No,
Is that
that's not his punishment.
That was his punishment.
No, that is
Is that justice?
No. The only reason.
Eternal
The only.
torment of being harried with anguish and doubts.
What's the
and
problem
people
with that?
coming
You know
against
why? I'll tell you why. In the
think he was
in the
punished
Islamic
a lot.
perspective, you know why? Because if Hitler stayed alive, he would have continued to do that sin eternally.
Yeah, very likely.
God knows that.
Ismail, 1 second. So you're saying there is no
So why
justice
did God
system
allow
for
him
you?
to
No,
do
for
it
you.
so long?
Kim,
Because
for
tests,
you, is there a
remember?
justice system or not? Because we got the day of judgment,
Yeah.
where God is going to judge everyone,
Okay.
and He's not going to be unjust to anyone. Now the question to you is that, do you have a similar concept for establishing justice between all these people who ever existed in the past or will exist in the future? What is the justice system in your worldview?
In my worldview, well, that's interesting. I don't know exactly what it would be because I don't presume to know what the afterlife is, or presume to know that I have the capacity to.
But you believe in
understand
God, right?
All that we can make an interpretive model that will be able to understand the universe and how it works.
But
Actually,
Kim, you believe
I'm
in
very
God.
skeptical of that.
You believe in God, right?
I believe in something that you could call God, creating force. I believe in a first cause.
Let's
that
not go
has
back
caused
down this
everything
route,
else.
No, it's important.
I believe in a first
do you
cause that has
believe?
created
Do you believe that
everything
first cause, whatever you need to call him, is able to communicate to you?
Let's call it God.
Yes, that's
Yeah, I think it would be.
You don't
in
sound
some
very
sense.
convinced.
No, I think it is, but I'm doubtful of it. But I think it can.
So you're doubtful of God.
Yeah, of course.
Whether it could
Okay, so
communicate.
you doubt God that He's able to communicate or not? Which one is it?
I think he can communicate, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so if He cannot communicate with you, and He hasn't, because the reason you're not sure is because He's never communicated to you, how do you know anything about God then?
How do I know anything about God? I don't know. How do you?
From the Quran?
Oh, from the
Oh, we
Quran.
have an answer, don't worry.
From a text written by people.
No, it was revealed by Allah.
Yeah, written.
Sure.
Who cares if it's written? The Quran, anyways, is a recitation.
That's,
It's an
that's,
the
oral.
question-
that's,
wait, the
that's
question
the
is to
assumption.
you, but
that's the assumption.
we have already
But
established
you
it's
don't know
Islam.
for sure.
No,
we
for-
know,
what do you-
we are
how-
certain, unlike you.
How can you be so convinced that you're absolutely sure this is
What
the
are we
case?
not sure about?
First and foremost, the
How can
question
you not
was
be
to
doubting?
you. I will answer the question based on Islam, but answer first from me.
Yeah.
So you don't know about God because He has never communicated to you, and you're not even sure if He can communicate.
No.
That means everything you know about God could be just speculation.
It could be.
There you go.
Same with you.
No, it's not. Because we
Because-
have the Quran to back it up.
because you believe
don't.
in it.
Yes.
But
no,
that's
no, no.
a- but it's a conviction.
Blind,
the
though.
belief is based on proof and
It's not
evidence.
blind.
Yeah.
So you say, but I think.
I mean, have you investigated?
I think.
Have you
yeah,
investigated?
I have.
Have
I
you
think
investigated?
If you're too zealously, blindly believing in one thing, and
Why
you're
do you think it's blind?
And you're absolutely sure that that's the truth.
Have
Why are you
you
assuming?
have you read the Quran?
I don't think
Kim, have you
you've
read the Quran?
investigated enough.
Have you read the Quran?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so you're still speculating.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
That's not how you-
If you've not read the religious text,
that's not how you find the truth, by speculating.
I'm not sure I would take the Quran as an authority on that.
But you haven't even read it.
No, you don't, yeah. How could you make a judgment on something you've not read?
You're just speculating about
Zero read.
Of course, but how can
So
you
wouldn't
say?
it be rational to wait to
but
read
how-
it to make a
but
judgment?
How can you compare to the Bible? You know, how can you compare to the Bible and say
Have you
it's
read the
better than
Bible?
Have you read the Bible?
I'm working on it. I'm
Okay,
going through
so
it.
Okay, wait, sir. So every judgment that
it's
you
a
have made
text.
about every text,
Yeah.
yes, is based on speculation.
Yeah, but it is just.
But that's not
text.
how you find truth, my friend.
Yeah.
How do you find? Wait. How do you establish truth?
How do I establish truth? I do it through inquiry.
Okay.
But I'm
But
very,
not speculation, right?
But I'm very, very.
But not speculation, right?
Yeah, and speculation as well.
How can speculation lead to truth?
Of course it can.
Give me an example.
You have to
Be a lucky
speculate.
guess.
No,
just
give me an
like you.
example of which you speculated and it came true.
Okay.
Gone.
So let's see. An example of having speculated.
By the way,
and came to
speculation
truth.
means you have no knowledge about it.
Yeah, you're
and
lucky-
you're just
lucky guess.
guessing.
Yeah, lucky
Okay,
guess.
so it's not knowledge based.
Yeah.
Okay, so show me an example. Go on, Ken. Because you'll shoot yourself in the foot if you do that.
Interesting. So how about a speculation about, let's say...
It's like saying picking the right lotto numbers is like having knowledge about...
Well, let's see where he goes with
Or
this.
maybe a small speculation like, are beggars in London Bridge, are they actually people who need money, or are they people that...
Sure, you can do it.
that just play and pretend?
No, that's you.
I was speculating.
That's you doing. You're saying probably they might be just pretending, or probably they're genuine.
All inquiry.
But that's the only way you will reach with it. The only way you'll reach an answer to that.
Calm down. Let me put it to you this way.
Them.
You have to start by speculating. Otherwise, you're getting nowhere. You have to speculate, then investigate, then
Even
interrogate.
If you want to say
it's the first
Thank
step.
you. So knowledge is knowledge based, right?
There.
Yeah. So it's not just speculation. You reach the truth. You have just answered your own question.
Yeah.
So there you go. I was right.
So
it's always knowledge based. So once again, the knowledge of God that you possess. And not knowledge based.
So you're still at the starting point.
Everything you said about your God is
how can you say that a text gives you knowledge of God?
Because you have to read it first.
Yeah.
Start with that.
Yeah.
Speculation.
And what do you base the text on that it's true?
Kim, let's face it.
How do you know it's true?
Kim, let's face it.
You do an investigation.
Do you need to read it?
An investigation.
An inquiry.
An inquiry into the text.
Start with reading. You know what is the first word Allah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
What is it?
Iqra. You know what it means? Read.
Read. Sure.
Okay? So not speculation, but read. You know the reason you can only reach truth not by speculation but by investigation, which is knowledge based, my friend.
But speculation is part of that. That's the first step.
No.
It's the first step.
You said you'll reach truth by speculation. Now you change the goalpost again.
No.
Did I not ask him?
100%.
Speculation. How do you reach the truth?
Speculation is the way to reach truth. And, all we're telling you is
that's what
you've
I'm saying.
shifted. Now you said speculation.
I'll tell you what,
is
whoever's
the
lying, the
starting
camera
point.
doesn't lie.
Yeah. Speculation is a way to truth. It's the
No,
first step.
it's not a way.
You didn't say,
It's your first step.
In fact, you just said it now.
That's
First
not
step.
what gives you knowledge.
Only now you said it.
And that's the way to
Earlier you
truth.
said speculation helps you to reach
how
the
does
truth.
that contradict itself? To say speculation
I'll
is...
tell you why,
Wait, okay, hang on. To say speculation is here,
Don't turn around.
it leads to truth.
Yes.
Right?
That's what you said.
And then say it's the first step to
It
truth.
doesn't because speculation
You added the first step right now when I jogged your memory to think.
Yeah.
So reason you thought about the first step is after you have realized that
Let
it
me
was
ask
wrong.
you this. How is the first step not leading you to truth?
I'll tell you what.
It is
Because
on the way
truth
to
is
truth.
Can I answer your question?
Truth is synonymous with knowledge, and knowledge is not reached by speculation. That's how.
It's not reached by speculation.
No. Even if you strike, even no. Even let me tell you why. Even if you speculate correctly, that would be a guess. Guesstimations are not knowledge. Knowledge is when you have justified, true belief.
It's not even guesstimate.
How
Speculation.
Yeah, speculation. You're just throwing a lucky guess.
Look, I think a good example here is Getier's example.
Yes, of course. That's what I was going to go with.
So if you explain that.
So look, you could have what's it called? Something like when we're talking about knowledge, necessarily we're talking about things that are true.
Yeah.
However, to have knowledge, there's you basically have to have these necessary conditions.
True justified belief.
Justified true belief, exactly. So a lucky guess is not justified, although it's true. And you could hold it as a belief, but it doesn't make it knowledge. So any speculative guess that you have, even if it strikes true, does not make it knowledge. Therefore, nothing that comes from speculation is actual knowledge. See what I'm saying?
Nothing that comes from speculation is not actual knowledge.
Yeah, it's not actual knowledge, no.
So for
But
example,
they come from speculation because first you speculated, then you investigated it, and you
That's
and you
good.
dug deeper.
Actually, we don't disagree with that.
It's necessary.
But when you only
It's
say
necessary to
when you only say
speculate.
speculation,
That's a very different
leads
thing
to
to
truth,
say.
then that's different. Because earlier you said, you remember the challenge I gave you?
Yeah.
Show me anything that you speculate and it's led to truth.
Yeah,
And then you
sometimes
started
it does.
thinking, and then only you came to the conclusion that you have to start with speculation.
Yeah.
But then you go to a process of knowledge-based
And thanks for that.
investigation.
And thanks for
See what
that.
I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true. You have to add it with something else.
So there's nothing wrong in speculating and then investigating. That's nothing wrong in that.
Yeah.
But when you start making statements like speculation leads to truth, that's false.
But the point is that the knowledge comes from the investigation, not the speculation.
How
That's the
is
point.
it false when speculation is leading you there, but it's followed by other
When
things?
you say it's a first step, that's different. When you say
It's only speculation.
Exactly. If it's only
I wouldn't say
speculation
that, though.
and leads to
I don't
truth,
think I said
You implied it and you
I'll
said
tell
it
you what.
earlier.
I implied it.
the camera
And he
doesn't.
said it.
The camera doesn't lie.
That speculation is the way to truth, the only way to truth.
Okay. Anyway, so back to.
I don't think I said that.
Maybe not the only, but you said it is the
Is
way
it
to-
possible?
Okay, I think you
So
misinterpreted.
you said that you will speculate, then you'll investigate.
Yeah.
What investigation have you done
into God?
Yes, to identify who the true God is.
I've read philosophers. I've read Kierkegaard. He did a pretty thorough inspection in it. He did a very thorough inspection into the minds of Christians that just pay lip service to God and how to actually try and understand the Bible and get further into the Bible.
Are you open to reading the Quran?
Sure, I've got it on the shelf. I don't think it's going to lead
It's
to...
not going to read itself.
Dust.
You know, it's not going to read itself. You know, having the ingredient there and not actually putting it to use won't give you any more knowledge.
I think it's presumptuous to assume that one text will lead to the truth inevitably.
Making a judgment on a text you've not read.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I seriously
keep an open mind, read everything, then make a decision. Simple as that.
And I seriously doubt one text can make you open your
but
eyes.
now you're speculating. That's my point. Stop with the speculation and just get to inquiry. Start reading.
All we ask is to be sincere and
I'm basing it on experience.
Of course, you're basing it on biases.
Yeah, no, I'm basing it on experience, like having read the Bible, having read other stories.
My concept.
It's usually not one. It's usually not one source that leads you there.
You know, my perspective on your situation is
multiple texts and ideas that then converge.
No Muslim only reads the Quran. That doesn't.
But you're not hearing what I'm saying.
No, I am hearing. No, I am. I mean, I heard you very well. I'm telling you, no Muslim only restricts himself to reading one book, that is the Quran. However, the best book to learn about God is the book that is revealed by God. Yes, absolutely. That's the source
because
from
we
believe.
Okay, unlike you, we believe God can communicate.
Of course, it's what I think. It's what I said.
Are you more right than the Buddhists?
Of course,
are you more right than the Christians?
Of course. We can demonstrate it. Absolutely.
You know, the only way you can actually answer that question is to read it.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I'll read it.
Read and compare and
then
contrast.
come to a conclusion. Because you know, if you're going to be hyper skeptical about everything, then you won't benefit
I'm
from it.
hard pressed to expect that a text that tells me stories is going to sway me on a spiritual level.
And this interpretation that you have, and this predisposition, not predisposition, this bias that you have, is coming from a biblical background. Because the Bible, that's exactly what it is.
Well, it's the same thing.
It's not food for soul. Sorry? Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. So here you go.
How do you know?
There's another Quran.
I've got a Quran.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
you know what? It's free.
Yeah. But how can you assume that all the Christians are wrong and you're right?
I don't assume it.
What makes
this last 2 hours
read the Bible,
has not been...
Let me hear some arguments. What makes the Quran objectively better than the Bible?
For a start, you actually have the Quran to assess it and investigate. Oh, so sorry. So you actually have the Quran to assess and investigate it. You don't have the Bible. No, you don't.
Why not?
What are the earliest biblical manuscripts?
Earliest biblical manuscripts. They go back to, what is it, 300 years AD or something like that?
4th century, yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, and the more manuscripts you find, the more variants. The fact that what is considered as manuscript is considered as canon, something that was decided in the 4th or 5th century. So you don't even have access to the original Bible, so you could barely investigate it in the first place.
So because it's coming from different fragments, it's less authoritative than the
it's
Quran.
not because that's not
from
why.
different sources.
No, I'm just giving you a point that is a weak point of a Bible. You can't even investigate it. That's the problem. You can't even investigate it because you're not even investigating the original thing. You're investigating what's it called? An evolution.
Doesn't have the original language.
It's not even in the
How can you say it's not the original thing when it's a story?
Okay,
when it's one.
What's the original language of the Bible?
When it's different, it's Hebrew.
No, it's not. It's Aramaic. I mean, yeah. If you want to talk about the Old Testament, I'm talking about the New Testament.
Talk about the Old Testament.
No, sure, the Old Testament.
Isn't it amazing though with the Bible that you've got all these different fragments, but when they come together, they form a cohesive narrative.
No, they don't.
They don't. It's highly contradictory. Have you read the Gospels? The Gospels, just before. Yeah, okay.
But
so
have you researched the manuscript evidences? Because if you look at the New Testament scholars like Bart Ehrman, you know what he actually said about those fragments?
What?
He said there are 5,000 manuscripts available, but there are as many differences in them as there are words in the New Testament.
Okay.
So, like I said, don't speculate.
So the Quran is more cohesive, it's more well put together.
In fact, the Bible,
that's the idea.
the New Testament doesn't even have the original language, let alone the original manuscripts.
But that doesn't mean that now you could have certainty that the Quran is the word of God. It just means that you could actually investigate the real thing. That's all. So that's all we're saying. Look, there's a stand right there with quotes of non-Muslim top tier scholars that I study in university that are non-Muslims that talk about the preservation of Quran. Angelica Neuwirth, for example, the leading scholar of Quran in the field in Germany. Every respectable Quran scholar admits that the Quran is preserved and goes back to the Uthmanic text, which is from the time and the time of the Prophet.
The Quran is younger than Christianity and
younger or older. It doesn't make any difference.
As long as it's directly from God, why should it matter?
Judaism is the oldest one.
Yeah, that's fine. We're not debating the Old Testament's older. All we're saying is you don't even have the original.
Otherwise, the Hindus will say that is oldest. Everything else.
Yeah, okay, Hindus exactly.
By your logic, everything will be wrong.
Couldn't you say that you do have the original thing because you do have the old fragments and you have the traditions that people carry on?
Yeah.
That's the most
That's
important.
fine.
They
That's
have two modes of preservation. One is the oral, which is the original, and we have the written as well.
However, what's relevant to you, you're a non-Muslim. What's relevant to you, because you want to investigate. What's relevant to you is not whether God protected it or whether, because we believe Allah promises that He will protect and preserve the Quran to the end of time. So that's not relevant. Yes, so it's not relevant to us. So it's not relevant to you. Sorry, but what is relevant is, do you actually have a text to investigate? You do. Do you have that with the Bible, the Old Testament, New Testament? Absolutely not. So at least you can investigate the Quran accurately. At least. So that's why we're giving you a reason to go and investigate.
You mentioned Buddhism earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you investigated Buddhism?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your understanding of reincarnation?
My understanding of reincarnation, it is that your spirit or your soul is transported into an animal or creature depending on your karma, depending on your level of karma, of how good or bad person you were, essentially. And you get punished. Their form of hell is being turned and reincarnated into a worm, or their version of getting closer to your nirvana, you get reincarnated into a holy cow, another human, you get another chance. You get like different
and you actually believe that?
No, I don't necessarily believe it, but I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting.
Have you asked them a question? Have you asked them? Let's say if they become, based on their karma, if they become, let's say, a dung beetle. Okay, what is the best thing a dung beetle needs to do to become a man again?
Well, that's a good question, right? How do you do moral good things as a dung beetle?
Yeah.
You don't.
I guess you could talk about that. There
are like the most dung.
There are levels of karma for animals as well. I'm not sure what their argument would be there.
Actually, I've asked them. They don't have an answer to that.
But I do.
I've asked, because the Hindus have a similar understanding. So do the Buddhists, and so do the Jains, I think. And there's a lot of other Eastern philosophies by them. But the thing is, you see this turning into from a human to an animal, and then back to a human. It doesn't even. For example, I asked them, okay, does the animal remember for what is being punished? Why did it become an animal? They say no, they don't remember. So how is that a punishment? Maybe it's a happy dung beetle, It's got the most dung in its colony.
Can dung beetles even be happy?
I don't think reincarnation is the strongest part of Buddhism either, but I think it does have an interesting notion of karma, and it has an interesting notion of continuance of spirit into new physical forms, which I find pretty appealing.
The other problem with the karma philosophy, it doesn't have the notion of forgiveness. It's only a black and white. Good, you become you have good consequences.
Right.
Bad, you're bad. There's no in between.
It's pretty cause and effect.
Exactly. In Islam, we have the concept of forgiveness.
Sure.
So Allah is able to forgive even the wickedest person if they sincerely repent to God Almighty.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Buddhism is a bit more hardcore in that sense, that it's like, this world is more like a system. It doesn't necessarily forgive you.
Exactly.
It just
mechanical.
Gives you, it gives you back what you get back what you you receive what you give.
Yeah. And that too is like something that they assume is true, but like I said, the karma is linked to the reincarnation, and the karma, I don't know if you're aware, most of these caste systems you see in India was because of the karma. So they believe that.
So it's allowing for that.
Yeah. The karma is the Vedic philosophy of karma led them to introduce caste system. So the worst of the worst, people will be reborn as a chandal. Chandal is like the untouchables.
I got you.
So if you
it's a way of reinforcing the caste system.
Exactly.
But equally, you could attack a lot of religions very easily. You could attack Islam.
Try
you could attack Christianity.
Go on, try.
Give us your best shot.
It's putting up a hierarchy. It's advocating for a hierarchy that says.
In Islam, how every person is treated. They're treated with justice. So in Islam, one of the laws. In the last book of the Prophet Muhammad, he said, the Arab is not superior to the non-Arab, and the non-Arab is not superior than the Arab, and the black is not superior to the white, and the white is not superior to the black. Now, before this concept of racism and all this existed back then, or discriminating based on your karma, based on the place where you were born and which family you were born in, none of that Islam nips it in the bud at the very start of the inception of when Prophet Muhammad started preaching. And this is what differentiates Islam from the other religions. So I showed you about the concept of God. Yes, we discussed that about he was there's
Cyrus,
no one other than him.
You okay?
When he created the world, he was alone. He didn't need it.
Once we stop
He's not
filming, I'll speak to
dependent
you.
on anything. And then we talked about the justice in Islam.
Are you being good?
Yes, about
actually came to
the
speak
hell
to you
and
because you
heaven,
invited me.
and how this life becomes a test for everyone. And you know, by the way, everyone is given a test which is based on their ability.
Yeah.
Because Allah says in the Quran, He will not test you, He will not burden you beyond your scope. Okay? So for example, if somebody is like short, Allah will not test him, okay, you have to now, I don't know, become like a great warrior or something. Yes, not that Napoleon might be an exception to it. But you know, they're given a scope. Sorry, they're given a test based on the scope. Yes? And this is something that Allah will test you based on. So on the Day of Judgment, you cannot say that Allah gave me a test, but it was beyond my limit, beyond my ability. See what I mean?
Every test is tailored to you.
Absolutely.
Yes, individually tailored. Yes.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
You know, earlier on you talked about how, how
Is that
can
your
the
book?
Quran
No.
guide me to truth? It's just about stories.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, the Quran actually refers to that argument when it says, إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا قَالَ أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. That when our verses are recited to them, they just say it's, it's ancient tales. So the Quran is challenging that notion. Now, everything is based on the foundation, right? Now, let me give an example. Like, we don't, as Muslims, we don't believe in Islam because, our parents were Muslim, let's just be Muslim.
In fact, the Quran goes against that.
Yeah.
The Quran
Against blind
tells you to not blindly follow the religion of your forefathers. Tells you to challenge your religion of your forefathers.
To add to that, we don't believe in something like, oh, I had a dream last night that God told me to be a Muslim now.
It's not emotionally based.
Yeah, we believe in objective truth. So when the brothers were saying to you that you should read the Quran, you should look at what does the Quran say about itself. For example, it has a falsification test. For example, it says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. That if you doubt about the book that we have revealed to our servant, Muhammad, peace be upon him, then produce a chapter like it. Although
Make something
Equal to it. By the way, this is not some subjective thing. This has linguistic criteria, which again, the scholars over there all talk and discuss the attempts and the failures from the 7th century. Not art, because art could be subjective. In the linguistic structure that cannot be replicated due to what we believe is the miracle that it is a divine scripture. Cannot be replicated. So look into this.
What about
Many Quranic. No. Replicated means
like not like for
something
like.
as original?
Yeah.
As
no, not as original.
So,
Something as
the same style,
linguistically,
same
yes.
linguistic.
So
linguistically
it fulfills the same linguistic structure. Look, the Arabic language is there. All the ingredients are there.
What
Fulfill.
structure is that?
So
What goalpost is it trying to get at?
the point, the whole point is there are these linguistic criterias that the Quran meets that no other form of Arabic language
Which
can.
criteria are they?
I'm not a linguist. You need to look into this on your own time, inshallah. The scholars are over there. No, I have looked into it the past, but I don't.
What are the
I'm not.
criteria?
It's like the style of the Quran is completely different to any other Arabic books.
Okay.
The reason we say that is because in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there used to be these Arabs and they were very good in poetry, prose, and so on. And then they were
So it
given.
is that
Just watch out. Do not block.
No, they were given this challenge to produce something like it.
Oh.
It doesn't mean like copy for copy, but that is what they
Something
ended up
equally
doing.
good.
something
Yeah.
with the equal effect, or even something linguistically equal.
And
But
they
that's
feel
the
that
Yes,
challenge.
linguist.
Another thing is, for example, if you look at the historicity of the Quran, the historical accuracy. For example, at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him,
Peace be upon
the
him.
Egyptian language, like the hieroglyphics, it was a dead language. We had no access to that. However,
And there was no Rosetta Stone to
yeah,
decode.
there's no Rosetta Stone. Now, if you look at the Quran, when it mentions the story of Prophet Moses and Prophet Yusuf,
Joseph.
So Joseph came first, and Moses came after.
Yeah.
Now, when the Quran refers to the ruler at the time of Joseph, it uses the word Malik,
King.
king. But when the Quran refers to the ruler at the time of Moses, it says Fir'aun.
Pharaoh.
Now, Pharaoh, yeah, in English. So why this distinction when the Bible uses the word Pharaoh for both of them?
Oh,
So the
And the reason, so no,
it's
the
historically
reason,
accurate because the terminology used for the
Because of what?
there was a different dynasty. So during Joseph's time, there was a different the pharaonic dynasty. There was a different there was no pharaonic dynasty. There is no pharaonic dynasty at the time. It did not begin yet. So this is actually a biblical historical inaccuracy.
So basically, you know, like today we call King Charles, you know, as king. So that is his title.
You might want to go tuck in
the
there if
time
you
of
want,
Joseph,
just so that you don't block
the title
cameras.
of the king was king. In the time of Moses, the title of the ruler was Pharaoh. So historically, when you talk about Moses, for the leader, for the ruler of that time, you should not use the term king because that will be anachronistically wrong.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So the point is, if something comes from if something comes from
Exactly.
So for pharaohs didn't. Pharaohs didn't. Yes.
But then
You would
the title changed.
expect a revelation that comes from an all-knowing God to be what's it called? Truthful. Yes. So you could assess the Quran in all these different ways. For example, you could assess the Quran's other falsification challenge, by the way, which is if this was from anyone other than your Creator Allah, you could find many contradictions within it. Go ahead, look for a philosophical contradiction in it.
Something very interesting is the Quran and the statements of the Prophet, peace be upon him, which we also believe in. Both of these make a series of predictions about the future, all of which have come true. And these
explicit, not some unexplicit.
For example,
give him Surah Al-Rum.
Chapter 30, yeah. So at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, the two great empires were who? It was the Romans and the Persians.
Right.
Yeah. Two great empires. Right. Now the Romans and the Persians were going at it, fighting each other. Now the Romans were on the brink of collapse.
No, they already collapsed.
Yeah,
the Persians defeated them.
They already collapsed.
So how it goes is basically Allah says in the Quran that the Persians have defeated the Romans. At that time they were called the Byzantine Empire. You heard of them? Yeah. So they were defeated by the Persians in such a way that they were like literally decimated. Like there was no chance of them to ever become victorious again.
Right.
Yes, or even to form an army, let alone. So they were decimated to such an extent. But then Allah says in the very next ayah of that particular chapter, Surah Al-Rum, that within 3 to 9 years, within a short period, the Romans will become victorious over the Persians.
So
now how did, and the thing is, by the time the prophecy came true, the Prophet ﷺ already died.
Passed away,
And then the prophecy did come true within that period of time, by the way. And the reason we say that this is one of the miracles of the Quran is because it accurately prophesied something no one would have actually even imagined. It's like saying the Aztecs today will defeat Americans. Yes. Actually.
So why would you? So why? So no, not even just that. The point is, why would the Prophet, peace be upon him, hinge the whole entirety of this religion, if it was a falsehood that he was just preaching? Why would he do such a thing? Hinge his bets on an absolutely dead horse and have his whole life's work undone. It's such a ridiculous thing to do. Such an odd, and he doesn't just do this once, because remember, probabilities get worse the more predictions you make. There's a plethora of predictions like this.
There's a chapter in the Quran, Surah Al-Masad, where it talks about one of the uncles of the Prophet ﷺ. Now this guy was an evil guy. He was against Prophet Muhammad and his mission. Yes, so he would all the time be against him, tell him bad things, do bad things to him, and so on. And he's also family. He's his uncle, Abu Lahab. Now Allah says in the Quran that these people will enter. They will never change. They are destined for hellfire. Him and his wife both. Yes. Now all Abu Lahab needed to do was to convert to Islam and disprove the Quran.
Even as a lie, by the way. Even as a lie, because the prediction is not just he'll never change in reality. No. Any kind of so even all he had to do, and this was revealed while Abu Lahab was alive, and I think it was 10 years. It took 10 years he had in his life. Yes, so it 10 years to even just perform the action of a fake shahada and actually pretend that he's a Muslim. But because God's all-knowing and because the revelation comes from a truthful source, it says that this man will die and will never become a Muslim. And he could have disproved Islam like that. Why? Imagine my life's work is this religion, and I hinge it on somebody else saying a few words, and it could completely destroy the religion.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry?
It seems worse than horse betting.
Yeah, of course, it's way worse. So you could decimate the whole life's work like that. Yeah. So see, now the odds are getting worse. The more you get predictions, the odds get more astronomical. So now we've just given you some food for thought about all these reasons why. See, remember you at first said you assume the Quran is. No, we've done an investigation.
Studied it.
Yes. And now we've studied the Bible. We say we read the Bible more than the Christians do here. We do.
The first revelation was read, so we do that. The first revelation to Prophet Muhammad was read, so we read that. But have you heard of the Pascal's wager?
The what?
Pascal's wager?
Pascal's wager.
Oh, I've heard the name, but I can't remember what it is.
Okay, you want to?
No, but Pascal's wager is unnecessary because he already believes in God.
No, but there's a difference here. Okay, let's say if everything that we said to you was false.
Oh, yes,
Let's say
okay, I
false.
see, yes.
Yes? One day, we all gonna die, okay, regardless of whether you believe or disbelieve. Yes, we all gonna die.
Yeah.
That is one certainty no one can deny, not even you.
Yeah, probably.
No need to speculate. No need to speculate.
Unless we make a technology that makes us immortal.
Bro, you can't, trust me. You can't.
sure?
Because
Yes. How do you
know?
technology has nothing to do with your life or death. So it's got nothing to do with that.
What if you can make a biochemical compound?
Let's not go down this. Oh my goodness.
You know, even
Isn't that possible?
your hyper skepticism won't save you from that. It's going to happen. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
No,
Okay?
it's most
Yes.
likely to happen. It's
Yeah. Not most likely.
We're all
it's-
gonna die.
it's
We're all
certain.
gonna die.
This is
But
one
imagining-
certainty you can deny.
What if you imagine in 500 years we've become
doesn't matter.
transhumanist and we've learned ways to extend our own life?
You can extend it.
Extend is fine.
But that is still inevitable.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Not most likely,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah.
You're made up of finite materials. You're gonna
You know,
end. Don't
like I
worry.
said, even the most hyper-skeptic person like you have to acknowledge and agree that this is one certainty we all must agree upon, must come upon. Now let's say if
Spread
one
the
day you
WhatsApp
die,
cameras.
and all of this what we discussed today is all false, okay? And you become dust, let's say there's no life after that, we all die, we become dust to dust, ashes to ashes, whatever it is, yes? And that's the end of our life, our existence, okay? Have we as Muslims lost anything in terms of taking this risk?
Lost anything in terms of taking the risk? What kind of risk?
Of believing and accepting
Like
Islam.
believing all these things about Islam,
Oh.
and then it turns out it's false.
Well, I guess the only risk you would run is that you wasted, if I'm being a hyper materialistic here, I'm not subscribing to this view, but I'm being the devil's advocate. The risk you could have, well, you wasted a lot of time doing lots of meaningless rituals, reading from a book.
Oh, we're allowed to
So
be
let me
rich, by
tell
the
you.
way. I don't know where you get that from.
What?
We as Muslims are allowed to be rich.
Allowed to be rich.
Yeah, that's we're not
As long as you-
Christians.
As long as you pay your
That's
charity
not-
on
that's
time,
not
there's
what I'm
nothing wrong with
saying.
that.
That's not what
So
I'm
what are
saying.
you saying then?
No, he's saying you didn't
I'm
waste
saying-
you wasted your time doing religious things rather than becoming more money.
Religious thing we are
No,
doing.
no, not necessarily becoming rich, but maybe doing other things more
But the
enjoyable.
point is that what's interesting is that
When
our
you know the-
But it's enjoyable for
Wait,
you.
wait.
so-
Yeah.
We're allowed to enjoy as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're on
Yeah.
about.
No,
No.
I'm just saying, if I'm playing.
You know
the
what
devil-
happens-
No, wait.
Yeah, go
You're
on.
not getting me. If I'm playing the devil's advocate, I could say the risk you've done is time.
yes, it's wasted. Yes, but the point is what.
That weren't
But the point is
Example, give an example.
Well, that's-
what could I as a Muslim be doing that you consider as a waste of time?
no. He's saying
Wait, let him
Well,
answer.
that's going with your assumption that everything you said was false. Let's assume everything you said was false. It's
No, but I
not
asked you,
real.
what is the risk we are
all-
taking?
we
That's
all
the question.
die, and the risk you take is
What?
that you wasted your time
In
doing
what?
something that wouldn't benefit
Okay,
you.
you know what? Everything that Allah has forbidden in the
That didn't help
Quran,
you.
you will most likely agree with. So Allah has forbidden, for example, saying lies, usurping other people's
Yeah.
wealth, murder,
Sure.
adultery,
Yeah.
fornication,
Yeah.
alcohol.
And I'm not necessarily
He stopped
disputing.
at alcohol, I
I'm
knew.
not disputing that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is.
No, but I'm saying
if
this is not
I'm-
waste
if
of
I'm
time.
be-
This
if
is
I'm
good
being-
for us.
If I'm
Hashim.
being the devil's advocate,
Yeah.
and you were all wrong,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's just a lie.
What have you
could
risked?
say
That's the
that-
question.
You could say that
What
the
have you
risk you
risked?
ran was following a false religion that led you nowhere.
No, but why is that? Why is
must-
that a risk?
That must be a big risk.
Let me tell you why. Everything that is prescribed. Listen. Everything. Kim.
Yeah, what if hell is
Kim.
real? Then I'm screwed.
No, Kim. Listen for a second. Everything that we do as Muslims is that we incur worldly benefit from.
Yeah. Okay.
So we actually, no time even if our religion is false.
And I'm not
Of
necessarily
course, yeah, of
disputing
course,
that.
of
I was
course.
just trying to. You were challenging.
Of course.
No, I'm saying, what is the risk we are taking?
No, I'm saying there is no time
And I
waste.
was saying you could say
You know the
there is
question.
that risk.
The question
if
is,
you were me.
yeah, it's a simple answer. So basically, the risk is minimum because if we die, you die, all of us die. Whatever life we led It was based on our religion, our faith, and our religion tells us to live a wholesome life, a wholesome way of life, which is good for you, for your family. So it's not really a waste. It's just exactly. But the thing is, if you flip the coin now, and if all of this is true, aren't you taking a huge risk?
Very big risk.
Humongous. Eternal risk.
That's a good argument.
That's actually called a past persuasion.
That's quite a good argument.
Yeah.
But I suppose.
So what have you prepared for that life when it stares you in your face and it tells you, this is the truth?
Our risk is finite. Yours is infinite. Eternal risk.
It's a bigger risk than if
much bigger.
If we were wrong.
I suppose you could put it up like that, but I think that's a very fear-based way of looking at it.
But that's not
it's not a fear-based. It's pragmatic. It's not what Muslims preach or believe. We're just putting it to you as a thought experiment.
Yeah, sure.
That's what it is.
It's like me.
No, I see it.
It's like me telling
I like
you.
the argument.
So basically, Jim, it's like me telling you that, okay, if you don't prepare for the test, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Is that fear-based?
It's a reality. No. It's reality-based.
It's not fear. So in this case, if you fail the test, then you're not fearing. You're fearing the consequence for which you will have to suffer. So you're not fearing of the test, okay, itself, but the consequences of it. So, but in this case, the fear is real, and the risk you're taking is huge. Okay, and when you breathe your last, there is no more opportunity for you to rectify that life.
Test is over.
In disobedience to Allah when He told you to. See what I mean?
It's a good argument, but I would probably.
Should you not? Should you, as a logical person, not minimize the risk?
No, I just assume that it's probably not, because there's so.
Now you're speculating. Now you're speculating. You're not. This is no. We're not. No, we're not.
We gave you.
We just gave you. Remember?
You got basis. You got the book.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
No. Don't be sure, because you know what you're doing now. Now you're being biased, and you're not taking what we're saying at face value. Because we're not saying accept what we're saying and don't critically analyze. We're saying actually, here's the book. Critically analyze. Yes.
I would say back to you.
So that Quran you got on your shelf, you're going to open it and read it, inshallah.
It's a good way to be in an unbiased position and consider all religions from there.
No, there's no way in your life.
Okay, wait.
Try and figure out where that might converge.
Who says that we didn't do that?
Jim, I don't think.
Like I told you, we have read the Bible. Listen, you know, by the way, in university, let me tell you.
Wait, you're shouting me down here.
No, I apologize. You go.
Aren't you kind of biased because you've already taken one position?
But there was a point where I didn't have this.
You're trying to find arguments to support your place. You've already chosen.
Jim, let me ask you.
It's the arguments that made me choose them.
Let me tell you why we chose it. So I've looked at the major religions and I've studied their books, including Hinduism, even though it's not very major, but including that. And then I've come to the conclusion that Islam is the truth based on the proof and the evidence I saw in Islam compared to the other religions. And I've discussed with you why I think karma is wrong, why I think the reincarnation is wrong, and why I think like you said about the Trinity and all those things which don't really are coherent or they are the truth. But the thing is, you haven't done any of them, and you don't have the lifetime
How
to.
do you know?
You told us. You speculated.
You don't speculate. We asked.
I have investigated other religions. I've read the texts. I haven't read the Quran yet. I haven't read the Bible fully, but I'm working on it.
So which one have you read? Which text have you read?
So I've read Zen Buddhism. I've read texts from Dogen Senji on Zen, focused on in particular. I've also read up on paganism, on Norse.
Let me tell you. Let me give you a little motivation. Let me give you a little motivation, yeah? Just from a curiosity perspective. Wouldn't it be pragmatic and wouldn't it satisfy some serious curiosity if you at least read the book? Wouldn't it make sense to read the book that 2+ billion people use to live their life?
I'm not saying
at worst, it will give you it will open up a whole new dimension to understand 2 billion people and relate with them. That's it. So, how many pagans? I know, of course. But how many pagans will you meet?
How many pagans will I meet?
You won't.
A few.
No, it's very rare. Far in between.
To be a Muslim.
Yes, absolutely.
Way more likely.
You're surrounded. This park is full of Muslims, not full of pagans.
But is the value of a religion or a belief
not
based
value?
on the amount
No. I'm saying the value of your investigation. Of course not. Well, we're saying the investigation is going to be valuable to you, not because we think it's the truth and it will benefit you in this life and the afterlife. It will also be more beneficial than studying something that only not a few thousand people believe in. Yeah.
Trust me, I don't think any of us have a long lifespan to research every single religion.
No.
So,
however, you could filter.
Yeah. How would you?
I'm using my gut instincts a little bit. And if we assume that God is working,
I don't believe your gut instinct because you speculate a lot.
If we God is working through us, shouldn't you follow?
No.
Your
We don't say God
deepest-
is working through you.
We know.
God, like for
instincts.
example, this conversation here,
Yeah.
God is giving you an opportunity to understand that there is truth out there. All you need to do is go and read about it.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is, because we don't have a lifespan long enough to investigate every single religion, how would you narrow it down?
Well, couldn't you easily say as well, when a Christian tries to convert me, that is God speaking to me? The Christian God
we don't use
speaking
those
to me is
emotional
a
words.
Yeah, we don't.
I'll tell you
That's
what.
quite emotional.
What's the difference?
Okay, here's an opinion or suggestion for you. Okay, investigate the religions which profess the oneness of God and monotheism.
Why? Why should I focus
Because
on
polytheism is illogical.
that? Well, what is illogical?
Polytheism.
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 Many gods.
Immediately you've eliminated most of the religions.
How is monotheism more logical?
I'll tell you how the Quran.
How is it more logical?
I'll tell you
I
how.
don't think it's in the realm of logic.
Of course it is. Of
The
course
answer
it
to
is.
that is also in the Quran.
Of course,
I don't think
the
it should
Quran
be
says. The Quran says if there was more.
I think you need to get beyond logics.
No.
Religion.
No. We don't think we're not Christians. We don't think that.
Logic is very, very limited.
No. We don't think.
Why
No.
is logic limited?
Super limited.
Why?
You can only say a few things through logic.
You can only speak
Would
in
you
logic.
Would you actually believe something that's illogical?
Would I? Yeah, sometimes.
Give me
No,
an
you
example.
wouldn't.
Wait, give me an example.
Oh, I don't know, like faith, like believing in God.
That's not illogical.
No, it's not. That's the point.
We have faith.
We've given you logical. How can you give logical proofs or rational proofs or rational argumentation, whatever you want, for something that's illogical? It's the opposite. It's the only logical.
Okay, shall I?
It's the only logic.
Let's cut to the chase. Shall I tell you why
Or you
why
could say
polytheism is wrong?
You could believe in illogical actions that people do. If you predict people from a logical perspective how they're going to act, it always
We're not
fails.
talking about
No. We're not trying.
If you look in economics and you assume people act like illogical agents, you're usually wrong.
No. We're not saying
You
people
have
are
to-
only logical.
You have to embrace a certain amount
Yes.
of illogicality.
No, not illogic. Logic and emotion.
Illogic and
Yeah, no. It's not illogic. Logic and emotion.
It's almost the opposite of
No. It's not.
You have to
It's fine,
use
just one second.
Logic.
Jim, shall I tell you what?
Logics.
You know the example of finance
Sorry,
you
my
gave?
name is Kim.
Sorry,
Kim, not Jim.
No, I said Jim.
Logics
Okay.
is another facet, but it's one tool.
Kim.
You have to add other tools to
Of
it,
course.
like emotional, spiritual.
I understand that. That's
So
completely
what
fine.
the example of finance you gave, that actually comes under probability, not illogical.
Probability
Yes.
and also looking at how people trying to predict the logical actions, the emotional actions.
Exactly.
Jim.
That's not illogical.
No,
example.
it's not.
I think it is.
No, it's not.
No.
You're looking at probability based on certain
Because you
data
can't-
values.
you
You're not
can't
just
always-
illogical. Come
You
Yeah.
on.
can't always predict emotions.
Illogical is
Yeah,
something
no,
that can't.
It's
No,
not
you
in the realm of
cannot.
logic.
No, you cannot predict it. But even those people who use this as a factor
Yeah.
in their for buying a share or
Use a
something,
certain amount of
exactly, it's based on data points,
Yes.
But the
not just emotions. So the emotions that people will probably show
Yeah.
is also based on certain data points.
Sure, it's based on
So it's
data
not
points.
illogical.
But you have to assume as well that
It's
can go
neither
the other way.
random nor illogical.
Ah,
Bad
My friend,
example.
Kim.
Next.
Kim, the reason we say that this is not, that it is illogical to have multiple gods is in the Quran. The Quran very clearly states, I think it's لَعَلَى بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْض. Which what does it mean? Is one would have tried to outstrip the other and vice versa. Why? Because what's it called? Let's say, I'll take for instance this book. This creator that wants to have this book at this height, is intending and is putting force or causing it to be at this height. However, this other creator wants it to be at this height. You have a conflict of will there. So you'd have two options.
They're both
Either,
equally powerful.
yeah.
They both want to have their way of putting the book here or here. Who do you think is going to win?
who's gonna win?
Yes.
Either you have three options. Either
One
you're
who's
going
most
to.
powerful in that domain.
No.
Okay, so
Exactly.
Who happens to win?
And that's
Precisely.
not the ultimate God.
Adding to that, there's another factor. There's another factor.
Yes.
To just add to the brother's point. You know, he said that if one of the gods wanted to be here and the other one wanted it to be here,
Yeah.
even if they didn't conflict, it would still be illogical. You know why? Because if, for example, if there's two gods and one god is in control of the trees and the other god is not in control of the trees, then he's not a god because his power does not extend over everything.
Yeah.
So therefore,
He's not a true God.
So it's not a true God. So you'd be talking about a false God. That's why anything that's polytheistic. Actually, if you read a lot of polytheistic texts,
Depends on how you define God.
Kim, just one.
How you define a God. Is a God a super powerful creature?
Kim, remember we said
He's all
that
powerful,
which is
all knowledgeable.
Self-sufficient, independent, infinite being, which created everything.
Can I say one?
It would exactly.
It'd be illogical.
There would be
There'd be-
pieces of
And if you critically, one second, brother, critically analyze, brother, just one second. If you critically analyze polytheistic religions, you'll always come to see that there's a hierarchy of the gods.
Yeah.
So even they understand that it makes
only
no
one
sense. It's actually only one true God. What they do is usually they have this issue of transcendent, and then they basically just so that they could start praying to rocks and they could start making forms just so that they could relate for somehow.
Christianity. Jesus still prayed to the Father.
Yeah.
I mean, so you cannot have this multiple beings. There can only be one supreme, logically and coherently. If you want to follow, then that is
The argument being because even polytheistic religions tend to have one God who's above the others, but that doesn't.
No. It does. That's not the argument. The argument is you can't. No, it's not. That's a secondary point. The actual argument is.
Don't say they're polytheists.
No, it's not. Remember, I used an argument from the Quran. I didn't even use this. So I said this is a secondary point. This is like if you just contemplated on the works, the writings of polytheists, that's what would happen. But the actual argument is you can't have multiple equally powerful things with wills that are equally powerful over the same set of things, and then try to have different things. Like the book, for example.
They aren't equally powerful.
Exactly. If no, so that's the point. There's actually only one true all-powerful.
They have power over different dominions. So
Exactly.
They have powers
So.
over different domains.
So then they're
And
not.
So then they're not sovereign.
But what I actually like about it, and one thing you can see it as, is you can see gods more as forces. You can see it more as one god is an emotional force, Mars being the force of masculinity, war, anger, and they gave names to those gods because they could see, I can see Mars in your eyes, he's coming there. So they're almost more like powerful demons or entities. What I like about the idea is it kind of fragments the power instead of simplifying everything and reducing everything.
It's not fragmented because it's still in the supreme. No. It's still in one supreme entity. No. It doesn't divide anything.
Several
You're
Kim, it
talking
doesn't
about-
divide anything.
You're talking about demigods and supreme
Yeah.
gods.
It
We are
doesn't
not
divide
talking about that.
anything.
We are talking that
That is what we're
monotheism.
talking about.
We are talking about monotheism.
That is what we're talking
We are
about.
talking about
Polytheism, multiple
No.
gods,
No.
demigods.
polytheism. Demigods is within the polytheistic realm. I agree. But even in that, yes, like if you're going to say that there is one supreme God, then this is still going to be, he's still going to divide his powers,
The
right?
God is not supreme.
So it's not supreme then?
The God is a father figure that the others defer to, and the God usually has his own domain, but he organizes and tries to rule the others, but they still
Kim,
Can you override them?
Yeah.
No, 1 second. Or if you read like the Greeks, the Romans, Egyptians, you have chaos. That's what happens when you have multiple. Yes, they go to war. They go to war against each other. And not just that, in some mythologies, the lower gods defeat the supreme god. It's ludicrous.
It doesn't make sense.
It is, it's illogical.
Doesn't
It's
God
ludicrous.
go to war as well? Doesn't God create war? In the Islamic tradition, doesn't
No.
God create war?
God
No.
doesn't create
instill
wars. God advises them whether this oppression should be got rid of using war. So
Yes.
yes, of course, the medium is
So
war
he instigates war.
No.
for an oppression. Yes.
There you go.
Like for example,
Not in the
so
way
he's
he meant.
so let me ask you this: if Hitler came here, which he did, and he bombed London, which he did, what did the Europeans do?
What did the Europeans do?
The British.
Self-defense, innit?
No, it wasn't just the British.
Of course, the Allied
They all got
forces.
together and they
Yeah.
fought,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is a justified war. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So there is such a thing as justified war.
So what's the problem?
Okay, so we are not saying
So the
that
point
even
was-
the wars that God
So the point was
commands
you were
them to do
using-
is not
the point was
something which
you
is
were
The
using-
issue-
you were using the conflict between the gods of polytheism as a way of
Yes.
disproving
No.
that.
It is. But the point is what? When you look at the universe, what do we do? What did we discuss about science? The science, to do it, you affirm and you assert the uniformity of nature. Why do we do that? Is because we actually think that from everything we've ever observed as a humankind, that when you hold a cup, it doesn't. You expect it to stay as a cup. It doesn't just combust like that. Nature is uniform. If you had a set of gods that all having different dominion over different things, and you had them going over to war over things with each other, there would be chaos in the universe.
And again, what do you
That's
mean
the
with
point.
nature being uniform? Because I'm not sure
The
that's-
uniformity of nature principle is something that every single person that does any kind of science must affirm. It's an assumption. in the philosophy of science. You have to. It is, and it's actually it's actually an axiom, and it's a circular axiom as well. It's circular because to do inductive reasoning, you need to affirm the principle of uniformity of nature, and to say that uniformity of nature is true, you use induction.
What does uniformity of nature mean exactly?
That things that hold in our observable particular, hold in the observable general.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So the point is that wouldn't be the case. That wouldn't be the case. Yes, of course, because what you see with polytheism. No. You see that when you have multiple dominions, so you have multiple gods with dominions that are different, and when they want different things, they have chaos. You would see that chaos manifest in our universe. We don't.
But you do see that.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, chaos in the structure. No, you don't.
Tsunamis.
No. That's not chaos, my friend. Tsunamis follow. So actually, tsunamis follow a very strict, not just that. Not just that. They're extremely uniform. Tsunamis follow the physical laws, which are extremely precise, and they do not change. They're extremely uniform. There's actually Martin Rees. 1 second. No. All the natural phenomena that you like. No, not a single natural phenomenon is chaotic. It follows absolutely.
They all have a reason.
There's no such thing as chaos anyway.
There isn't.
In polytheism?
No. On a materialist worldview in science.
No such thing as chaos.
Of course not.
Because look, if I smashed this bottle,
every natural calamity has a reason why it's happening.
My friend, what you are describing as chaotic is just simply what you don't understand. A scientist will tell you exactly why a tsunami behaves in the way it is. It behaves according to physical laws that have long, insanely astronomically long decimal places,
like for example,
and they're extremely precise.
Caused by earthquakes and
That's the assumption.
So So that's the point. So randomness, exactly, something that just something we don't understand. But everything in the natural world, everything in the natural world is in line with what's called an extremely uniform with these physical laws that we know of. So we do not observe chaos. We observe the exact opposite and the extreme opposite. Therefore, it cannot be. There are these multiple sovereigns who have different dominion over different things and are, going against each other. This is exactly what the Quran discusses.
You say that that's another order of a different form. It is still an order. It's still an order, right?
What do you mean?
Gods act in a certain way. The different forces of nature act in a certain way. I shouldn't be defending polytheism too much, but you could say it's just a different kind of
order. You shouldn't. No, it's not, because the point is there is that kind of hierarchy creates chaos. And we don't see that.
Well, the polytheistic God, they act sort of like people. And would you say people are chaotic?
No. Forget this. This is a side point. This is a side point. No, it's not. It is.
Your assumption.
No. It is a side point. The point is what?
Gods are chaotic.
No. Gods in polytheistic religions are not only logically. No. Not just that. Yes, of course. But they go to.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's just that was always a secondary point. The first point was what is that the Quran says they would have tried to outstrip one another, and we would have seen this in a form of chaos. So, and we don't. We literally, our whole scientific enterprise, once again, yes they do. Because I just explained to you, gods have that have wills, will want different things, especially if you're talking about polytheistic religions, unless you think, no, one second. Let me give you why it can't be this any other way. Because if the gods are exactly the same in every single way, and they don't have any difference, then they would be identical, then there would actually only be one. Because why? You can't differentiate, therefore there's only one.
But they're not identical.
That's why. Exactly. So if they're not, a
God by definition means
polytheism usually has its own kind of order, where the gods, they stick to their own.
No.
But if that was the case, that wouldn't be worse.
Between gods.
Because if one goes to another's domain, then
usually they leave each other to.
Usually, if one wants something,
occasionally they use that to explain, like, say, phenomena or various things that happen. That sometimes the war.
Yeah, but should gods be at war with each other?
But it always goes back to a sort of.
Why would God need to go to war to do something that He wants to do? Why would a God need to go to war to get something done
Because
in the first place.
Different kind of gods.
No, exactly. They're not actual gods. That's the point. They're not actual. They're not.
From your point.
No, from a logical point of view.
No. Because it depends on how you define a god.
Of course, and we've spent an hour talking about it.
You're very stone hard on like a god.
Yes, but I'll tell you. You know why? Because we've shown you throughout the last 2 hours of our conversation is that we have reasons for the beliefs that we're so stone on, right? That we're so in the sand, like we're just putting our foot down. Why? Because we've done a rational investigation, we've done a scriptural investigation, a historical investigation. We've done all these investigations of not only our religion, other religions. It is these exact arguments that made us choose our religion. It is in the Quran where it says that you should not be blindly following your forefathers. And you should, ponder and reflect.
He's asking you to do critical thinking.
Of course. So that's the point. So even if you're born to a Muslim family, you could eventually decide to not be Muslim. But the point is that you must rationally and intellectually take this journey and investigate, and then we believe you will come to the truth of Islam. That's it. And on that note, I think, Kim, we've had 2 hours.
Very long video we have, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's on Dawah if you want to check it out. It was lovely speaking with you. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you again at the park. Yes, less speculation. Absolutely.
I could say the same to you.
No, you can't. We've just established you can't.
I would say be less certain of where you stand. It's healthy to doubt.
Our certainty.
Critical thinking includes that.
Yes, of course. Our certainty. No. I'll tell you why. Because we've already done the doubting. You're still in the process.
You've done all the work.
We've finished.
You're finished.
No, we're not.
At the start line, we are at the finish line.
Yes.
I think that's naive.
No, it's not.
The work never finishes.
Yeah, but you're thinking. No, it never finishes. It never finishes. But now.
The line, we are closer to the
did.
line.
No.
No. Line, not finished.
You said that first. Now you're back.
No.
I said you're at the start line. We are near the finish line.
Kim, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, because we see becoming Muslim as. One second, Kim, don't interrupt. Kim, that's not what we see the Shahada. We see the Shahada when one becomes a Muslim. We see it as the starting point of your journey, not the end point. We see it as kicking in from neutral into first gear. See what I'm saying? So for us, all it is just that now you're in the correct paradigm. Now you keep learning.
Remember the Pascal's wager?
And you're sure it's the correct paradigm.
Oh, we've done the investigation to be sure of that. Yes.
I think you could benefit from
and we've not stopped. You know what's interesting? Kim, let me disprove you. No. Let me 1 second, brother. Let me disprove you right now. You know what my degree is? 1 second. Let me disprove you right now.
No. Defensive.
No. I'm not defensive. I'm sorry. I'm passionate. Kim. Yeah. Sorry. Apologies. Kim, let me just disprove your point. My degree, what I study, what I do for a living, is studying atheist philosophy and studying Christianity. Why would I do that if I'm already uncritical and that's undoubting and all these things? So my life's work is a demonstration of a constant person who critically analyzes. Yeah, I'm certain in my Islam. Why? Because I've done the investigation, and every act. You know what's Allah? The more that I investigate everything else, the more I'm certain about Islam. Alhamdulillah. Absolutely. So you can never go wrong with critical analysis. Anyways, now on that point, barakallahu feekum and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, that's mine. I don't know who else. That was an amazing discussion, alhamdulillah.
He's hyper skeptical, just like anyone.
No, he's not horrible. Like, I've seen way worse. Oh no, I don't want to touch other people's stuff. He did very well emotionally. Where's our... Did you pause it?
Yeah, I just did. Let's go pronounce